say 34 to 44 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Hey, y'all. Hello. Let's see if we can. Oops, sorry. Might have knocked his whole drink out the way. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hey, beloveds, as y'all are coming in, we are going to talk about debunking relationship myths. You ready?
I'm very ready. I'm ready.
You ready? All right.
This should be fun.
Peace, y'all. Peace. Okay, so we got our list. Where our list at? One, we wanted to just introduce what we're doing with Spiritually Yoked. I decided to come up with this page to tackle relationship topics, not only with just relationships as far as intimate relationships, but also relationships that you have with like your mother, your children. So we'll get into those topics as the year goes on. But the whole goal was to make sure that we are talking about dynamics that can help you start to navigate your spiritual partnership, your spiritual relationship from a different perspective. A lot of times we get stuck in an aspect where it is dealing with what the superficial aspect is, right, as far as the surface aspect and what we have been conditioned to believe. But like I said the other day, how many of us actually knew what to do when we get into a relationship? How many of us actually had an ideal of what it would take to be in a relationship, to make a relationship work? We typically learn this from TV, our parents, and our friends.
Not including to let people know, what if some stuff is just not your shit? It's your mates, or your friends, or your family members. It's theirs to work on. It's not yours. We got to stop feeling like we have to save everybody.
Exactly.
When we're not even saving ourselves first.
That conditioning. And then it's just like conditioning in an aspect of, you know, sometimes we be doing stuff that it don't make no sense. You doing it because that's what you heard you supposed to do in a relationship.
Or you was raised that way.
Exactly. And, you know, or sometimes we are trauma bonding because of our experience, whether it's how our father showed us love or our mother showed us love. Right. And then what we're taking in from that perspective and then adding that into our dysfunctional ass relationship or way of navigating a relationship.
And some stuff is just self-worth. You can have the best, you can just met the best mate in the world for you, and you'll sabotage it.
Listen.
You'll sabotage it quick because you don't feel like you're worthy of that love. And
man, you know how many times I remember me and my girlfriends used to always talk about dudes that was so used to that pop off crazy chick that he had been in a relationship with so many times that when they run into a relationship with one of us, it was like, wait a minute, so you not getting ready to slash my tires? You ain't getting ready to bust my window?
You not mad?
Like, you don't love me. That means you don't love me. You don't love me if you ain't busting my windows. First of all,
and that's terrible condition.
First of all, I don't need to be busting. If I'm busting your windows, it's a problem. Right. That's a problem. Not to say that we didn't consider doing that when I was 20. Side note. But anyway, we grown now. We grown. So we not busting nobody's window. Like, that's not how I show that I love you. Okay? So really just getting into topics like that. And, you know, I really wanted to make sure that we really address spiritual partnering and understanding that I'm going to hold him accountable and he's supposed to hold me accountable for what I say I want to evolve in. If this is a journey that we decided to show up and we choose to, you know, choose love every day, we choose to be in this relationship every day, how are we spiritually navigating this relationship? How are we doing things that are going to make sure that we're always involved and embracing each other's growth?
Consistency. Being consistent, being present, intentional with what you want to do and how you're doing it. Make sure you're cultivating yourself, but you're also cultivating your partner in the way they need to be cultivated. Not the way you need to be, but the way they need to be.
Don't be trying to condition your partner.
Right. Or change your partner.
Or drag them along on the damn journey. Right. Ooh, that killed me when y'all be like, oh, you know, I'm on the spiritual awakening and I'm doing all my classes and I'm growing and I'm evolving, but you trying to, peace beloveds, you trying to drag your mate.
Right. Maybe it's not his time yet. Let me put it that way.
Thank you.
Maybe it's not his time. It's not saying he won't get there. And at the same time, we're not telling you to wait. In some cases, yes, we are, depending on your mate and depending on what he's doing and the work he's putting in. But understand, we're all going to arrive at these destinations or these places at different times, at different levels, at different speeds.
Right.
Where she's at right now in her journey is not the same place I'm at on my journey.
Right.
But it's not that we're not going in the same direction.
Right.
It's just we're meeting at different times and at a different path.
Right.
Now they're crossing, we're walking along, but we're still walking our own journeys inside of our journey together.
Right. And there's a thing where you have to allow your space, your mate space and freedom. Child, what I got, this
Dragon
is a
fruit,
berry blend.
Dragon
This
fruit,
is
blueberry.
Okay, yeah.
What else is in there? Strawberry, bananas, and then the almond milk.
Something that one y'all favorite vegan coaches be telling y'all don't be doing the food pairing like this, but I'm a close determination. Don't get me started on that. I eat and drink what I want to when I want to.
Your human design determines what you eat and how you eat it.
Okay.
No.
So, and then human design, since we touching on that.
Right.
That's another thing that's a really, really important dynamic that I like to discuss when it comes to spiritual partnership.
Herbal ash pot.
Okay. When we talk about spiritual partnering, you got to know what y'all human design is. Right. You got to know what your partnership chart is. Because when you know what your partnership chart is, listen.
It helps you navigate it on a totally another level.
I'm going to do a live specifically dealing with how to look at these partnership charts and start really studying y'all charts so you can see where you're growing at, where your lessons are at, and where your commonalities are at, or where is the space that you're supposed to okay, we know that this gonna trigger us, or where we have one dominant gate, and I happen to be the dominant gate. Hey, so, but we have that one dominant gate, and it is once we started understanding that, it made sense, because I'm always trying to bring structure. I'm always trying to hey, this is what I feel works for us, or this is where I see our strengths. Let's lean into this. So I'm always providing that, even before I knew that was the dominant gate for us.
I'm the free flowing.
Yeah, but I'm
supposed to have structure. See, now that's
another thing. Together. Dealing with natal chart and dealing with his human design. We gotta really know, hey, these are the dynamics that work for us, but this is where his strength. When it comes to our compromise gate, he hijacking me everywhere. He come on, let's go do this tribal shit. Come on, let's go do
something for the community.
Let's go do something for this. And I be sitting there I'm trying to take a nap. You're doing too much.
But it's a beautiful thing, because you get to see where your mate is weak, but see where you're strong. Maybe you're strong where they're weak, and then vice versa somewhere. That's where you intertwine and you blend.
And not even strong and weak, but just know that this is where this person shines at, and this is where their gift is. Right. So we're going to lean into your gift. And women, I really, really urge y'all, because sometimes it is your mate that is the one that might have the dominant gates. And y'all sitting there I don't want him telling me what to do. No, you need to listen, because that's where his gifts lie.
He's supposed to lead.
Right. So if he's leading in those dynamics, then let him lead in those dynamics. You have your gifts and your strengths too. So then you're allowing yourself to, and it has to be that common understanding. Once we knew what our chart was, it was oh, well, shit. Well, we know that this is what your strength is. Right. Let's lean all the way in.
I know how I'm triggering you now.
Right.
I get that. Okay, this is the part I need to work on, vice versa. And this works for same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships too. Yes. I want everybody to know this works for any relationship.
Why I said spiritual partnerships.
Unisex.
Spiritual partnerships is really important for you to understand. All right? So let's get into our myths, our debunking relationships. The first one we put was...
Men are less emotional than women about relationships.
I don't know about y'all. I know my experience. And what I realize is, because I'm a 1-3 splenic projector, that means, I operate more from logic, typically. Okay? More from logic. But he's the emotional one. But I was laughing because when we pulled this and I said, I have never been in a relationship with a man who was not emotional.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Like, I always used to be laughing when people used to say that. I'd be like, well, I must be getting all the hypersensitive, emotional ass men. That must be me. I must be pulling in this type of frequency because every man that I have been in a relationship with has definitely been emotional.
I'm going to say what the problem is. We've never been taught or shown truly how to deal with our emotions. And I'm not talking about every man, because there are some great fathers, some great examples, great grandfathers, great men in general, stepfathers who have shown men that you can express your emotions and talk about them. Me, my father was in between. I'm going to be honest. My father was military. So there was times when he did say express your emotions, but a lot of times he was like, bottle them up, use them. Use them as fuel to get to where you want to be. Use it against whoever you're working with. But that did not always help, because that made me mask a lot of things, a lot of trauma that I know I should have let out then. And I could have corrected then instead of me working on my inner child to get it right now.
Right. And the thing is, it still go back to, like we said, when we look at human design talks about, hey, he's an emotional generator. Right. So he gonna be emotional, man. Like, this is what his authority is. It's to tap into his emotions and figure out, is this connected to me or is this not connected to me? Like, is this supposed to be what I'm supposed to be doing? Did I sit with it? Did I allow my emotions to process what's going on? Now, with her knowing I'm emotional, now that's where I step in and I master that, because I need to be in control of that. Right. That makes us work better. If I'm not willing to control and understand what I'm sitting in and get to the bottom of it, then I'm doing us a disservice. Right. Because now when I get emotional, I'm responding. Right. I'm not thinking. I'm not even trying to sit in. I'm just talking. I'm just going at it. And one of the biggest things that I realized is, like, once I started studying his chart, it gave me more of an awareness for myself, because I'm a projector. And me being a projector, it was like, I'm sitting here picking up on his emotional wave before he even experienced it. And it was like, I would feel it coming, and I'd be like, the ancestors told me not to say shit, so I ain't gonna say shit. Like, I was talking, but I ain't talking no more.
The whole house would feel my mood swing. Even the kids would come and talk. Is AJ all right? Okay? Is something wrong?
His tone. Right. My babies used to be like, his tone sound different. So is he okay? He having a good day. So listen, when you start to pay attention to that frequency and understanding, like, oh, I done picked up on it before you picked up on it. Right. So I had already done mastered his emotional wave before he did. But that's the whole thing. It's because of me being who I am. I was sitting there studying. That's what I do. I'm a 1-3 projector. So I study people's patterns. I study people's, habits. And I started paying attention, like, oh, this is a time where you might be a little more triggered by this conversation. And instead of me just damn picking the bear or poking the bear, as they say, let me go sit my ass in the corner for I'll be done poke the bear too hard. Okay? Or I might just go ahead and light the damn, because I'm a damn fire starter. Like, oh, we get ready to light this mug, so you can go ahead and get this out.
Sit with it and get it over with. But the one thing I will say that I love that she did the most was, it mainly came from work. So when I came home, she started to say, know what, I'm going to start saving you at the door. You talking about somebody loving you. That's caring and loving to me, because she was willing to, I coming in the door, she saves me. Get in there, go in the meditation room.
Yeah, have a moment.
And I go shower, get everything else together.
Right.
But sometimes you have to de-cleanse. You have to cleanse and debrief yourself from what you just went through in the day, and the people that you was around, all those energies you took in.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like, really understanding, like, as a couple, am I the emotional one? And if you, I don't know who's a projector on here, not only do we pick up and sense whatever's going on in our family, like with our partnerships, we multiply it, we amplify it. So like I said in a live before, hey, he could be on 2. My ass would be on 20. By the time I get a hold of it and process the emotion, I'm on 20. He's still on 2. He like
I ain't gonna lie. If I was a boxer or like a martial arts or MMA, I had a perfect partner that would be just cheering me on, because she'd have me hype. She'd be right there. She'd probably be hyper than me.
Right. In the wrong way.
In the wrong way.
You literally do that for your husband today. Sage him down. Good. Just a whole free, yeah, it's a free master class. We doing it. Okay, so yeah, that whole men are less emotional.
To be honest, I think we're more emotional than women.
And
that's just my own opinion. I think we are.
I feel like it's 50-50. And I'm the one that's like, it just depends on your type. You can't make a blanket statement and say, hey, men are more emotional or less emotional. Honestly, it depends on what you need. The one thing that I did learn is that because I am a splenic projector and I don't have a defined emotional center, guess what? I'm always attract or be attracted to men who have that center defined. Right. Because what it does for me is it fills up my emotional center. I'm pulling an energy at that spark that's happening between us is because he has a defined emotional center and I don't. So I'm gonna pull that energy in and be like, oh, this feel good. That feel like, cupcakes and brownies and shit.
Right.
So, like, for me, I'm like, okay, I know, right? I always got to compare it to food. But, it feels good. And that's what you have to pay attention to. Right. Normally, those sparks that y'all are feeling, it ain't because y'all got chemistry. It's chemistry, but it's a chemical reaction that's happening when your type meets a type that is actually connecting and fulfilling what you are lacking. So because I have been lacking that emotional center, who best to learn that energy from than a defined emotional center?
I'll give it to you even in a layman terms of way, and it's still human design. Mm-hmm. Imagine that person that when you linked up, y'all was the bestest friends at something, whatever y'all did, but that's all y'all connected on. Mm-hmm. Like you might have connected on other things, but that was the one thing you did. Or maybe y'all were just sexual partners, or maybe all y'all did was go play tennis all the time together. But that was y'all connection. It doesn't mean y'all were supposed to be together, or it doesn't mean y'all supposed to be in some kind of relationship, but that is y'all connection. Beyond that, until you go do the research and look it up and see where y'all, you really connect, you won't know where it's supposed to go.
Right. And
it might have been just supposed to have been another business partner's a door to go to another place.
Right. Or a lesson that you were supposed to be learning.
Are you the lesson for them? It ain't always about you. It could have been them.
Right. You might be part of their soul tribe that triggered them to do something different.
Right.
And you even saying and touching on that, like for my single babies that's in here, what I do want to, press upon y'all, just because you have that spark or that chemistry, the butterflies, I always tell people the butterflies mean run away, but
sit with it.
Sit with it. Really investigate. That's why I always tell y'all, take some time. Don't just jump in. Like literally take some time so you can navigate. Maybe this is a relationship that I'm supposed to do XYZ. Maybe I'm supposed to, like we said, start a business. Maybe they're supposed to help me understand more about myself because they're triggering certain things in me that I wouldn't have triggered before. I didn't pay attention to before.
Like I had to learn that there were some women that I dealt with that honestly I should have been just there to help them. Not help myself. Let's just be honest. Not help myself, but to help them.
Right.
I wish I saw what I know now back then. Because I do feel like I still became part of that problem that's out there. We're still hurting women. Women are hurting men. That's a problem that's going to have to stop eventually.
Man, especially if we want our community to be better, we want our children to be better, we got to start making choices that reflect that. And we're not saying that everybody gonna walk a certain line. Right. I know if you single, you gonna have a cut buddy. I'm just saying, we get it. But what we are saying is that when you start to make a decision where this person is your spiritual partner, where this person is a relationship that you are striving to take serious, now your emotions, you done got caught up. Right. Okay? When you start getting in that space, we got to be a little bit more mindful of the choices and the decisions. We got to actually do run them damn charts. I tell all my babies, run them charts. Run them.
Please. And even with your cut buddies, it could be lessons in that. Yeah. Learn. Find your lesson in that. Maybe it's something you need to work on.
It might just be sexual
lessons.
It
could be just sexual lessons, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so myth number 2, you need to love everything about your partner, even the worst qualities. Y'all see my face? That's some bullshit. That part right there is.
I ain't gonna lie. I was one of the ones that was raised on that. You supposed to love the crust of a mother. You know what I mean? Like if you really in love and you care, you love them to the crust. But for some reason, it never sat right with me. It did, but it just didn't sit right because it never got there.
I was the one that was like, every time he would say that, yeah, if you want your natal chart, astro.com. If you want your human design, my body graphs. If one of y'all, my old school babies, can y'all put that in there? He used to always, like, when we would get in a disagreement, he was like, but you're supposed to love everything about me. Nigga, bye. No, I'm not. No, that's some bullshit. You dealing with some fuckery right there. No, not doing. Right. He could tell you, like, my mouth is always off the chain, so he used to that. But literally, I used to be like, no, like, I'm not going to tell you and lie to you and tell you that I love the fact that you do X, Y, Z. That's some fuckery. Right. Now.
But that's the part of, if you truly care or value about a person in general, regardless if they're your partner or not, you value them. You're going to be straight with them. You're going to G-check them, and you're going to get them to try to see it in another light. Now, if they don't see it, that's their journey. But you have to at least respect who you are, your temple. She knows who she is, and she knows what she would tolerate and what she won't.
And that was a conversation, I think our initial conversation was like, look, if we are talking about having a serious relationship, this is what I require. Right. This is what, my terms and conditions.
That's what
I'm big on. I'm big on my terms and conditions. Right. If you're not honoring my terms and conditions, you need to kick rocks. Don't waste my time. And, we strive to navigate. Now, what I did learn from my own personal self is that some of the things that I was fixed on as my terms and conditions had to be renegotiated. Some of those things had to be like, hey, wait a minute. Okay, this is our partnership. And if I'm truly going to be a part of this partnership, I got to understand where he's at. Okay, what is he able to provide at this particular moment? And then where do I need to be like, this still on my terms and condition. The contract negotiable, but it's still on my terms and condition. I'm going to give you some time to make your payments on that part. But, really figuring out what it is that, how we were going to be flexible. We're both bonds made and broken in this particular stage in our life. Okay, so what that means is like if you have a 3 in your profile or you have a 6 in your profile and you're under the age of 50, that's bonds made and broken. Right. Typically our types, we tend to do things where once I'm full and once I'm done or I'm done with you, I done got what I needed from you, I'm out, I'm good, I don't want to talk to you no more. Okay, and that's with friends, that's with jobs, that's with relationships, everything. Right. So we had to start understanding, okay, how do we keep reinventing ourselves within our relationship? How do we keep discovering new things for us to connect to? Because I stayed with some roller skates on.
All the time.
I still. He having them laced up.
I stayed with the lasso trying to catch her all the time.
He was always
trying
like,
to hold her. Come on, where you going?
We ain't going nowhere. I don't know why you playing like this.
But even with that bonds made and broken, I do believe that's why some people are considered users. Mm-hmm. Are taking advantage of people. And it's just because they don't know their design. I think if they knew their design, they would understand who they were. Right. And they would navigate a little different.
And that's the part where, when you make a statement like, you need to love everything about your partner. You do need to love everything about your partner. But when they own that bullshit, check them on the bullshit. And make sure that you're being respectfully check them on the bullshit. But still allow to, that space to say, hey, that's not something that's in alignment with what we agreed to. Okay? That's not something in alignment that's going to help us grow as a couple. That's going to help us evolve as a partnership. And because of that, I'm gonna need you to work on it.
But just understand, y'all, it's fun work if you make it fun.
Yes.
It can be trifling, stressful if you make it stressful, because there's moments we've had stress. Because there's moments when some stuff just didn't click.
Right.
It just didn't at the time.
Right. It took time. Like the thing, like even where you see us now, it took us time to get here. Right. Like this is our natural state, and we always are in this state. But there was things that was happening that was triggering the hell out of me, was triggering the hell out of him. And we were getting into these spaces where it was like, like I said, we both bonds made and broken. This don't feel good. And if it don't feel good, I'm out.
Right.
So, i.e., why we kept going through relationship after relationship after relationship until now we got the right one. Because my ass, when I was staying with some roller skates on, he was like, I don't know why you think you're going somewhere, like, for real.
She's
like
trying to roller skate in pebbles and rocks.
That,
I don't know what she was thinking about.
Shut up. But, you know, us understanding that aspect and understanding that friction started to help us grow more. You know, it started to help us pour more into like, okay, wait a minute. There's some things that, you know, is triggering us, but it's not our shit from this relationship.
Right.
This is his old shit, or this was my old shit. And I'm like, we didn't think we were bringing it into this partnership, but we were. Right. And it was taking us to trigger that element to heal it. And once we started dealing with that and started to get into, okay, wait a minute, let's tackle this. Me being the scientist, I stayed like studying stuff. Let me tackle this from a different perspective. Right. Because obviously, you know, this is, you know, where you got to hold your hands up, ladies and fellas, if it's some in here. You know, you got to hold your hands up and say, wait a minute, okay, this can't always be the other person.
It's got to be you sooner or later.
Somewhere you got to look at yourself and say,
or at least your part in it.
What is my part?
Right.
In this dynamic? How am I not showing up the way that I need to show up?
And I keep saying men because I know us, but I'm going to keep saying men. This is for everybody, but I'm going to keep saying men. Be honest. Like, be motherfucking honest. Be truthful. Like, stand in that mirror, look at yourself and be truthful and own up to what you do and what you didn't do. Because you know the fuckery you did. You know the stuff you was doing. But if you can't be honest and then work on it and admit it, what's the point of being in a relationship?
That part.
What's the point of working on what we're trying to work on?
Right. And it's even giving yourself enough time. The one thing I want to tap on with that, like loving everything about your partner, but identifying when they are on the fuckery. It's like giving y'all self enough time to allow that person to evolve. I know that you are a procrastinator. And because I know that you're a procrastinator and I'm not, then maybe this is an area, if it's dealing with the bills, that I'm the one that's over the bills, or I'm the one that taking charge of that until you evolve to the space that you're able to handle that. Or it's over, I don't know, dealing with your kids' dynamics and like really figuring out who is better at interacting with the children, who is better at doing that. Maybe you still old school. Like he old school as hell. I'm the one that's like the freestyle parent sometimes. Sometimes it don't work. Sometimes I'll be like,
I'm getting better.
Oh no, you're a lot better. But those dynamics, those dynamics actually started to be where we started identifying and teaching. So there's things that he's taught me and showing me like, I get what you're trying to do, but it's still not getting you the results. So let's figure out a new way. Right. Let's maybe combine or mesh both worlds together so we can create a new way of parenting or a new way of handling finances or a new way of doing whatever it is. So figuring out how to give you enough time or your mate enough time to evolve in wherever it is. Y'all know that's my favorite word. I think I need a shirt.
But that's the biggest one. I mean, I think out of everything I've learned dealing with our relationship and past relationship is we truly got to understand when we're really over that last relationship, meaning you're not bringing baggage to this new relationship. When we split apart months ago, honestly, I wasn't breaking up with her. I was still breaking up with my ex-wife. Let's just be honest. That's who I was finishing off. It was that finished cleansing. That was that break off because it was things that were triggering me that she would do that had nothing to do with her. She's not really triggering me. But my mindset of where some things were going on, I'm still dealing with that, even though that was 2 years ago.
Right.
So you got to understand, too, there's a healing process. The work you put in on it determines how fast that process goes.
Right.
But if you're not putting in the work, which I wasn't technically doing in the beginning, let's just be honest, that carried that work on for even further to 2 years.
And then, like, my women who are more advanced or more, further along in your journey, recognizing, like for me, I knew like in the beginning when I was telling him, like when we met, I was like, you still got some things you need to heal. I know the ancestors already told me you need to heal in XYZ. There's still attachments. And if you still have these attachments, you truly can, connect to me and love me the way that I deserve.
Be in alignment, walk in my truth.
Even though I was giving him all these tips and tools, I still was able to identify you ain't really doing the work. And I was like, I was the one that kept giving him that, if you don't do that work, it's gonna blow up in your face. You gonna be one of them people I'm talking about that all of a sudden everything gonna come to a head and it's gonna be like, it's gonna get you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So when it did happen, and even within our dynamic when that whole tower moment happened, I was like, he treated me like I'm somebody different. Like, I was sitting there in the conversation with him like, who the hell is he talking to? And not like in a, who the hell is he talking to? Because I know who the hell I am. But more like, this ain't had nothing to do with us. Like, I already knew immediately. Like, it had nothing to do with what was going on. To the point that I was
bringing up things that me and her didn't even went through.
Right.
And I didn't even know I was saying it. But I was saying, we done did this.
And my crazy ass was sitting there like, lost his whole mind. His whole mind gone. Because I don't even remember that shit happening. Right. But once we and it was crazy because as pissed as I was when everything was going down, I still was able to sit down with my mentor. And that was one of the first things that they said. They said, that has nothing to do with you.
Right.
That was not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of something that he's going through, something he's navigating. And when they brought that understanding to me, I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. It don't make me, feel no better.
And it don't make it easier on me having to work my way to get things back to where they were supposed to be in the beginning.
I still wanted to chop his ass in the throat. Let's be clear.
That's always.
That is. But I wanted to really physically chop his ass. Right.
Because, it was disrespectful. It was some things that were said, and I'm not saying disrespectful to the way that I just, disrespected my black queen, but just to put her in the position I put her in.
Right.
It was something that could have been alleviated and handled if I had put in the work when I needed to put in the work. Right.
But that was even that time of me understanding, okay, and having an ideal that he's in a defined emotional center.
Right.
So his emotions gonna go from 0 to 100, and the triggering that is happening has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with an experience that he had before me.
Right.
And what I had to get to a space of, if this is what I teach, I have to hold space for him. I have to be in a space where I say, you know what? You on that fuckery right now, and I'm gonna give you a timeout. I'm gonna let you, have your moment. But at the end of the day, let's figure out, why is this coming to the surface? What can we do to fix it? And then what do we need to do to grow from this point? And that is what real spiritual partnership look like. That is what loving unconditionally looks like.
And when we say this, we're not saying do this with everybody. We're saying do this with people that are showing you they're trying to master themselves. If I had not shown her that even though not doing the homework, she still saw me doing other things.
Right.
That I still was trying to master myself.
Right.
I still was trying to navigate this journey and find the path I needed to be on.
Right.
So if you have somebody working that hard, you do make that space for them as much as you can.
Now, if they just being on some bullshit,
and you tell them to go figure out that journey.
Like kick rocks. No.
Because to be honest with you, if I had not been doing the work and she sent me on my way, I can't be mad at her for that.
That part.
All I could do was look at myself and say, hey, you sabotage another one.
If he would have been on some other shit in other areas, trust and believe, my ass would have been like, no, we gonna do this co-parenting thing. Let's work. We gonna be some great co-parents.
Our next myth, we're going to that one with Spencer. We're talking about co-parenting, and we're just talking about in general coming together. That next myth would be, the one for me should already know how to treat and love me. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. As much as I used to truly believe that, if he my soulmate, everything gonna click. No, it's not. You know why? Because every person you meet is different. You can't go and use the last relationship and say, ooh, I gave her a massage, so I know this chick gonna love massages. That chick might not want you to touch her in that way at all. She might not like massages.
Listen, Linda.
One lady might like you to rub her feet, and the next one, don't touch my feet at all. I can't stand that.
They all got different love languages. We all have our own unique blueprint. So you gotta be in a space, and we all raised by a different set of parents.
Thank you. if we was raised by parents at all. The streets might have raised us. That's a whole another personality.
Your friends might have conditioned you on how you supposed to handle your relationships.
Right.
Because y'all listening to y'all friends.
That part.
Like, oh, girl, he ain't do that. No. First of all, let's be clear.
That's what she like. Or he
That's
like.
what you like.
Right.
Like, I know I'm totally different than most of my friends in my circle. There's certain stuff that I love, but there's certain stuff that I'm like, I would not like that. Like,
Okay, I can give you one. I'm a highly affectionate person.
Absolutely.
I'm highly affectionate. I'm highly touchy-feely, all of that. This one, it's not that she isn't, but because she deals with so much energy and she deals with so much all day, that there are a lot of moments when she doesn't need my energy to amplify or maximize or even overload her with what she's already been through. I have to be mindful and be like, you know what? Go take your time. You know, I have to let her have her time to herself.
Like, have a moment to decompress. And what he had to start learning is like, okay, she a projector.
Right. It's not a shot at me. I didn't do nothing wrong. It's not that she don't love me. She don't desire me. She don't want me any less.
And I used to have to like reconfirm that for him. Just give me a moment so I can actually take a moment to be clear of all the energy that I have been engaging in all day. Because coming out of that energy and then, you know, him wanting to, you know, a certain amount of time and energy from me, that was triggering like a mug.
Our kids, our baby.
I be like, bro, I need
my
a
kids
nap.
want the energy. My kids from the past want the energy from us.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It's
a house full.
I was ready to run away. I said I was running away. I threw the whole house away, the whole thing. All right. So when you get into that, if they knew, like if they're my soulmate, then they should know what I want. Right. You know, they should know how I should feel. She's talking about sage my ass. Absolutely. Right. That part. But no, he's good for like telling me, why don't you go take a spiritual bath? Right. Like if he know that my energy is off, go take a spiritual bath because he knows that resets me. But
for men, now I will say this. You should have a core values of ways to treat women or however you want to put that on our side, that whoever's the masculine. There should be a way you should treat your partner. Opening doors, walking on the right side closer to the road to keep your partner away. I'm saying it in masculine so that way I can cover everybody because I truly believe that. I believe there's a way that you open the door, pull the chair out. There's a way that you handle the person, you handle your partner. It's showing respect, it's showing unconditional love, but it's just small core values I believe should always be there.
And I do feel like there should be a reset in that balance. I can say honestly, like, it's crazy. I've always dated men that were from the South. I've always dated very Southern hospitality type men. So they always had like old school manners where they would open my door. They made sure that they, you know, pulled my chair out. Like they've always had that type of value system. But I can say because I am raised by a very alpha female mother and an amazing father, there were times where like it would throw me off and I wasn't receptive and I would have to catch myself. I had to retrain myself with AJ, like, cause he was extra opening doors and I was just sitting there like, I could have opened my own damn door, but but I had to get in a space to allow room for him to show up in the area that was for him. And because this made him feel that he was doing his role and responsibility. And that's a whole nother lie.
And I used to do her like I did my mom. She'd reach for the door and I'd pop her hand.
Yeah. Like,
I'm like, no. She got to the point she was standing at the door till I got to.
Like, I ain't touching
She knew then.
Like, once I got to a point, like, I ain't doing it. That's why I be looking at other people like, your man ain't handling that because I'm spoiled. Like, hey, I was already spoiled. I have an amazing father.
Get out and pump the gas for your mate, no matter if you driving or in the passenger seat.
I have an amazing father. So, like, me and Chin and Hab always talk about this. Like, you know, I'm not spoiled. I come from an amazing father. My daddy was in my life. So, I'm used to, you know, you supposed to be doing this. You better not let me, I ain't taking nothing out the car. The hell?
Side note, you are your daughter's first love.
Exactly.
Show her how it's supposed to be by treating her mom right.
Right. So I want to go back to this question. I got it.
Okay, right there, that one.
No, I want to go back. It's another one.
Before that one.
Yeah. So how do you navigate the desire for touch of a partner that won't give it to you at all.
Similar to the next one too. And you get a partner to touch you when they won't.
Okay, I'm gonna try to answer this from a nicer space. One, have you had the conversation? Let me ask that. Have you had the conversation? Because sometimes y'all gotta look at, especially if you're a female in a relationship with a man, okay? They've had trauma too. They've had, issues too. And sometimes that might be a sign of things that they need to heal within themselves as well. Okay? So you gotta be in a space that, are you holding space for their healing? Are you having that conversation to even recognize or identify that they might still be having some trauma dynamics that they're connecting to, and that's why they haven't allowed that opening for you to engage in an intimate perspective? Okay.
You can shoot straight, but it's a difference in just shooting straight. It's your tone. It's the way. Oh no, I'm just saying the difference, because how you come at them will determine if they open up to you or if they're going to close down even more. So when you come at them, try not to come at them using any type of phrases, words, or tones where it's like you're threatening them, you're triggering them, you're blaming them, you're coming at them. Find out what the root of the problem is, because they might have this ready to unload it, and they have nobody to talk to unload it, and they really want to talk to you, but they might be afraid of, like, if I come at you, she gonna think I'm soft. Because a lot of men do that. We scared to talk to our ladies because she gonna think I'm some bitch, or I'm a little girl, I'm a simp, I'm this and that. So what? Talk.
And then you have to make men feel comfortable with being vulnerable.
Right.
A lot of times men are not, and because they're not taught that. A lot of times men are not taught to they're not taught to be vulnerable. They're not taught to be able to, say what they need to say, or express the fact that they might have been violated. Okay? Express the fact. Can you check to see what express to see what dynamics that they still are working on healing wise. Now what I will say that, and I'm just my personal experience, pay attention. Why are they not touching you? If you are in a relationship with somebody and they,
cuddling was their foundation.
But like, if you were in a relationship and they're not touching you like that, that might be a red flag. I'm just keeping it all the way real. Like, the one thing I can always say, that when that man was into me, I never had a problem with him texting, calling, showing up with acts of love or gifts of love. I've never had an issue with that. Okay? So you got to pay attention. How are they showing up? And sometimes, literally, ladies, we got to get in a space of, I'm not telling y'all to make room for some bullshit in the beginning. I'm telling y'all that person, if they're interested in you, they're going to show you.
Right.
Okay, quit chasing people because it's a challenge, or quit being in relationships because you think that shit is cute and they really not, reciprocating the same vibration or energy. Women, we have a big issue with wanting the man who don't want us. Okay? Wanting the brother who he obviously blatantly showing you he don't want you.
Basically, stop overextending yourselves, both sides, men and women. Stop overextending yourselves. If you extend yourselves a certain amount of a length, and if they don't meet you halfway, or they're not even trying to come back to your side, eventually you have to be okay with letting go.
That part.
I'm telling you, that's hard. I mean, it's not hard, but it is, because it was for me. That was one of the things I had to learn to evolve, to even show up better for my lady. Because if I couldn't have that, I guess, truth or authority, knowing that I can let her go, I'm gonna be okay, then how can I show up for her?
Right.
I can't use her as my crutch.
Right.
Oh, I only can be okay as if she's here. If she leaves me, I'm gonna fall apart.
Right.
Then that means you don't have your self-worth, your self-love, your journey to self needs to start.
Right. And the biggest thing is, like, one, nobody can love you the way you gonna love yourself. Number one.
Shouldn't be able to.
If somebody is not reciprocating the energy or the love that you desire, honestly, and you know that that's a key core part of what you want, then one, after you've had that conversation and you realize that this is not going to change, you got to make a choice. And what I do want y'all to understand and realize, there's always something better. Quit putting yourself in the mentality that, oh, this is it. No, it's not. It's not. You got 109 spiritual partners.
If you want to exhaust the possibilities and you go to counseling and then you still feel like it doesn't work, that's fine. Move on. But the biggest thing is, who's to say you were supposed to be together? This could have been your lesson.
Right.
You have a lesson to learn to get you to the one that they got waiting for you.
Right.
That special person is waiting.
That was an appetizer.
Right.
They was just preparing you for your actual main course. Okay. It was an appetizer. So I want to keep reiterating, yes, you hold room. Yes, you choose to show up. But if that other person is not choosing to show up, okay, if they're not reciprocating the vibration and the energy that you're pouring in, listen, it's time to go. You got to go. Got to go. All right. So, that whole, just reiterating as far as what that myth was, is saying, your soulmate not going to always know what to do. They're not. They have to learn. You have to be willing to open your mouth and say, hey, you know what I like? Like, give them compliments and affirmation. Like, baby, I love when you bought me flowers the other day.
Right.
That just made my whole day. I was smiling every time I went by him. Like, lay it on so they really understand and they really know, like, I actually appreciate this act of love from me.
And a small secret for everybody. If you're laying that on and you letting them know and they don't show up, that lets you know if they're listening to you or truly paying attention. That means you are not important to them. I'm sorry. You are not.
Right.
Like my ladies had a flat tire the other day. My mind had so much going on that the day before, I forgot to check it that next morning. Did I hear about it? I heard about it. She made sure I heard about it. But I have not forgot about it since then because, in all honesty, I felt bad. I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad because I know that's something I always do. I always make sure I check and make sure she's protected and she's good and she's healthy.
Right. I was like, you slipping on your pivot, homie.
I got fired for a day. She was giving me
fired. You fired.
But the reason I'm saying that is you always have to just reiterate and pay attention and look at your partner. Learn your partner. Be willing to learn your partner.
But
don't change them, learn them.
And then, but it's things like that. Like, we joke about it because it was one of those things like, bro, you slipping on your pivot. You ain't check my tire.
Right.
Like, this is some terms and conditions shit right here.
Right.
Like, I'm big on, I'm old school. Like, I don't want to be doing all that shit. I ain't trying to be out here I'm not on my independent woman shit. Y'all can keep this shit.
Look, I'm at work. Like, how can I get away from work to go pump this tire up and come back? No, I'm getting away. I'm about an hour away. Can't do it.
Right. Because I was
about to call my daddy. Daddy, can you go pump a tire for me?
Right. Like the air pump went right there. Yes, I could do it. But the whole point
and she did it. Now let's keep this right.
I did it.
Right.
But my whole thing is that I keep reiterating to him, hey, I'm not that independent woman shit. I'm not on that shit with you. Like, no, I like to be taken care of.
Right.
Nigga, you just bought me, like, you need to pay my parents a dowry or something. Like, we need to go back, like, completely old school. No, you went and asked my daddy because you married me. Like,
that's not what we believe in, old school.
Not doing that new age shit. Y'all can keep that new age shit. That shit is for the birds. Okay.
Right.
I was about to say something else, but
myth
number 4. That's yours, right?
Yeah, I read the third one.
Oh, okay. You can fix sexual incompatibility. Ooh.
What?
That's a myth, y'all.
You can't fix it.
You can't fix me being like my compatibility with you. That you can't fix. You can fix bad sex.
Right.
You can fix that. Oh, okay, that experience wasn't really.
We can work on it.
It wasn't no fireworks happening. Right. Like I'm probably the unpopular opinion. I don't think you can fix none of this shit. But you can fix a bad sexual experience, but you cannot fix how you are compatible. Like with this particular one, I think that we was reading, they was talking about like, what if one of your mates like he want to do golden showers and you sitting there like, no, that ain't. I was like, Nah, you not peeing on me. We not compatible. You ain't get ready to go in the shower. And in all honesty, not knocking y'all who like that.
In all honesty, you shouldn't be in a relationship then with that person. I'm sorry. Because if that person's telling you they don't like it and that's something you like, you cannot just cover that up for years.
That part.
You're going to have resentment because that means there's other things that you're going to want to do sexually.
Not R. Kelly
me. They're not going to want to do. And I don't do go in the shower, just to let y'all know bullshit.
You're not going to R. Kelly me, no.
I'm freaky, but not. No. That's some bullshit.
But listen, it's one of those dynamics where it's like, you got to, start paying attention and be honest. Especially my women, because we are the most sexually repressed, aspect of relationships. You beloved, cannot lie about it. You gotta be honest. You gotta be like, wait a minute, you want to do what? Like, you really need to be talking about this before y'all even get into the relationship. Like, y'all should have already had that conversation. Like,
and be honest, be open and honest. If you a woman and with a man that want another woman here at retirement, be honest about that. I'm just saying, be honest about what you like and who you are, but make sure you sat with yourself on it too first. To make sure that's what you really want. Because those are some dynamics once you start doing other things. I'm telling you, there's layers to it. It's layers.
Shani, you said they gonna go after it somewhere else. I'm assuming is what you're afraid of. Let them go.
That's why you shouldn't even be there in the first place.
I would be the one with my foot like, get out the door. Like, I'm not doing that. What you doing? Right. I ain't doing that.
Like, if we weren't sexually compatible,
I would have been out. And I still be like pineapples. I still be like pineapples sometimes. I'll be like, pineapples, bro, what you doing? You doing
don't listen to her.
But if you are one of those type of, you got to have that open conversation in the beginning before you even get to the bedroom. That way you got that open conversation like, no, I don't think I like being gagged and tied up and all of that.
So that way people ain't trying stuff you don't like and you get traumatized.
Right, and then it turned left. It turned all the way left. So you need to have that conversation in the beginning. Right. Not be talking about the right, safe word. Like, not be talking about, oh, you know what, I just wanted to see what it was. No, you don't want to see. Mm-mm. You don't want to see. You already know. We good and grown. By this time in your life, you should know what you're going to do and what you're not doing. And you should be able to discuss that.
Right.
Right. Like, we had that conversation. Like, what are things that we wanted to try? What are things that we were open to try? Where is the area where we like pineapples? No, we ain't doing that.
And now that we had that understanding. It's not to say you can't evolve over time. Because maybe the closer you two get together, maybe there are some things you're willing to try. You might be, you know what, maybe I want to open to try this. I'm still waiting. Tantric is next. I'm waiting.
Right. So,
but all of this flows back into our very first video, which is sacred sex.
Sacred sex, knowing what to do and what your frequency and how you engage. But the biggest part, like I said, you can't fix that. Bad sex, they say you can fix it because you can start to learn each other's body, what I like, what I prefer. Baby, I like a little more foreplay. I need a little more foreplay. More so than the other stuff. Okay, I need a little more of this, more so than that.
I need more rubbing. I need more touching. Babe, I just need more cuddling. We don't even need to have sex. Can it be some times where we were supposed to have sex, but we just end up rubbing, smelling, sniffing each other, engulfed in each other's aura and essence?
Right. So, like, really having those conversations, but stop lying to yourself.
Thank
you. If it ain't working, it ain't gonna work.
But that's the reason why a lot of y'all cheat too. Like, let's just be honest. Y'all know your mate ain't gonna do something that you wanted to do. Now you're gonna go out there and find it and say, "Oh, I'm not cheating. It's just my mate won't do it." And that's your dumbass excuse. That shit.
Right. And that's for the bird. That's for the bird. Fuckery. And that's creating more broken homes.
Right. More trauma for you, the person you're dealing with, and the person you're in a relationship with.
Okay. And even though we didn't put this on this particular, I do want to touch into, you being honest with what is it that, you really expect. Like, are you going to have an open relationship? Are you having, a monogamous relationship? Do you want to explore polygamy? Like, you really got to have that open dialogue from the gate.
Right. Are you willing to have a sister wife?
Right.
Are you willing to have a sister or a brother husband?
Brother husband.
How you want to put it for the other side?
Like, you gotta like literally have all of that conversation. Okay. So that way you can see where is the boundaries for that, for you, and where is it not. And if you're in the dating stage, beloveds, this is a prime opportunity for you to be like, I'm out. Like, this ain't it. It ain't it. Okay? Not sticking around thinking that you could change them. Not sticking around thinking that something gonna shift. Right. No, they already told you what it is. They already told you what they wanted. So if that's not your life, that's not what you're trying to do.
If a zebra show the stripes they have, stop trying to make them be a tiger.
Right.
They're not.
A horse or whatever you want to. It's still the same.
Still the same.
Still the same. All right. There's...
Well, which is why I said what still goes into the last one, which is there's a right way to have sex. And it's the frequency, and it goes back into our sacred sex, which we've talked about before. But...
Or no. This was the one that was like, there's a right way to have sex. So they were talking about how often you have sex. Remember?
That too.
How often, like, if you are... There's a right way to have sex. Are you doing it every day? Are you doing it once a week? Are you having it, how many times? And if you're not doing it a certain amount of times, then, hey, guess what?
Something's wrong. Stop listening to your damn friends. Listen to your partner.
Stop listening to them books too. Like, and some of them books is stupid. Some of these blogs that people be putting out, they stupid.
Feel your partner out. Maybe your partner and you only want to have sex once a week. If that fits you and your schedule and y'all are happy, be happy with that. Right.
Like, quit allowing other people's standards and, dynamics dictate how you run your relationship.
A lot of them be lying anyway. They ain't having sex 5 times a day. And if they are, damn it, they ain't doing nothing all day. They have no life. I'm sorry.
They ain't got no job. Nothing. And no kids.
Must be retired on an island.
Like that. And that's beautiful.
Right.
That's what your life is beautiful. But y'all gotta really, like, to me, I always tell people, do the research. Y'all be taking advice from people who they ain't even married or in a relationship. How that work? One of the main reasons that I never got into relationship dynamics that hard is because I was like, when I wasn't in a relationship, I was like, I'm not going to tell you how to run your relationship. I'm not even in one myself.
Right.
Okay. So what I look like trying to give you relationship advice and I ain't even in one. Okay. And even with this, I'm not telling y'all I'm an expert at this. Right. What I am telling you is that I'm sharing my journey with you. I'm sharing what we are doing and what has helped us navigate what, our stuff. Right. And it's helping and actually is, creating ways for us to communicate, ways for us to be better.
Exactly what we want, because now we have the tools and the resources to see what we needed to know about each other, and then what we needed to know personally. There's stuff on my journey that I'm still doing personally aside from her that I have to work on that's still going to bring to the collective. That's going to help everything evolve around once we come together as a couple all the time.
Right. And it's, like I said, allowing room, allowing space. I can't reiterate. It's the same way that I tell y'all about your own spiritual journey. It's an intimate journey.
Right.
It's an intimate journey. So when you are talking about your spiritual partnership, this is an intimate journey. It's an intimate journey. You have to figure out, what is your design? What is his design? How do we come together? What frequencies is popping off once we come together? What is becoming our strength? What is becoming the things that we move in unison on? And what are the things that we're supposed to operate independently on? And now that we have that understanding, now how do we use this to our advantage?
Right.
Okay, because it's not about just reading a book on relationships or, tuning into one of these, lives or whatever, and not really figuring out how to apply this information to yourself.
It's constant work daily. It's journaling daily. I mean, you have to put in the work. I'm sorry. I get it now. As much as I wanted to run from it before, because I've always been able to do everything in my mind, you got to journal. You got to write these things down so you can come back to them, revisit them, see where you've progressed, see where you've moved. So maybe you haven't. Maybe you still didn't get that answer yet.
Right.
But because you got the lines up and the little breadcrumbs, you can pull them together and get the answer you're looking for.
Right. And that's the whole key. It's just saying, like, identifying where y'all are at. What is it that you are doing to evolve? Are you consistently growing as individuals? And are you consistently growing as a unit? And what does that look like? Like, what does that look like for y'all? I know the one thing that I can consistently say with us, we always are identifying, what's going on and how we need to grow. They counting us down. I forgot we on a new page. We don't get to do long extended lives. Okay, so I love you guys. They count us down. Hopefully you get something from this.
Right.
Really be intentional with your own personal journey and how you grow with your mate. But quit putting them in a box. Quit putting yourself in a box.